Hello.
Hello.
So we've got a great addition since we last spoke. Well, we've never got to do this in person.
No, never.
Which is a point of sadness for me, but a point of happiness today because you know how much I love you. You're one of my favorite people in the whole world. And since we've gone on the road, we've given young Danny over there a microphone. He's now got a camera.
Yep.
He's also got his own fans.
Oh, really?
Well,
you got that one guy.
Fan.
Yeah. The what does he say?
I'll find his name. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's talks about Danny coming from.
But shout out that one fan.
Yeah, shout out that one fan. He comes from like a magical universe or
time traveler.
So yeah, we have a screen if you want to use it. Peter Schiff's with us.
Yeah, he sits close to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and
who's that?
That's you don't know who that is?
No.
That's Chucky.
Oh, from a movie or something.
Yeah,
right?
Child's Play. Do you want to know the weirdest thing about this? Let me tell you about this. This is so fucking weird. Do you not know the film?
No.
Okay, I swear to God, I have not got no idea who the manufacturer of this is, and I don't know if they're trolling me. But my daughter loves horror films.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been, there's ones she wants to watch, but I've been taking her through some of the classics, and we watched Child's Play. And she kind of liked it, but she thought he was freaky. So when me and Danny were in Austin, we were in like one of those kind of movie memorabilia stores, and they had a Chucky. I was like, I've got to get that for my daughter. So I got it, and she was like, no, Dad, that's freaky. I don't like it. So we've been doing this thing where we just like hide it in each other's stuff. Like, I hid it in her school bag. So when she was in class, she opened it, he was there, and she hides it in my bed. But anyway, he talks.
Oh.
But up until about a week ago, he only said 2 things. Now he, like in the last week, he's learned about 8 new things. And we're like, do you know what the film's about?
No.
All right, so there's this criminal, I can't remember his name, and he's being chased by the police, and he hides out in this toy store, and then there's like he says some kind of like demonic prayer and ends up possessing the doll, and then the mum of this child wants to get her the Chucky doll because he wants the kid wants Chucky. She can't afford it, and then there was like a back alley one for sale, and she gets it, and it's this one. So this kid ends up having this toy, and then over time the toy starts like running around and then killing people because he's possessed. But he talks, right? So, but like I said, up until a week ago, he said 2 things.
I don't have a problem with killing.
That's new.
I like a little killing now and then. What's wrong with that?
That's brand new. That's new. That's old.
The first thing we got to do is get me out of this body.
Right. Can you see he's saying a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
He said 2 things for the first 3 months we owned him. And I've looked in the back and there's no settings where you like... No, there's no settings. There's press the button for him to make a noise or on and off. So I think either this is actually possessed and he might murder us over the next couple of days, or they're trolling us and they've done a thing whereby they switch off things he says for a certain time, but it's weird. Anyway, that's Chucky. Got nothing to do. Are you a Bitcoiner? Anyway, we'll leave him there. He can go next to the Bitcoin racing car. Anyway, that's a diversion. Anita, how are you?
Thanks, I'm fine. Hi. Hi, Pedro.
Pedro.
Don Pedro.
L'Oreal Pedro. Every time I see you, it's nice to see you in the country. It's nice to see you in Bedford. But you've been traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that because you told me you've gone nomadic.
Yes.
So what happened? How come you went nomadic? And I'm so jealous, by the way.
Yeah, nothing happened in a way. I mean, I think it's a development, a personal development in a way. For at least 10 years, I have been thinking about staying in Bali over winter. 20 years ago, when I decided to become self-employed, it was always the goal to live and work, and it's basically the same. So you never need a holiday in the classical sense because your work and your life is one. And I mean, people call it maybe work-life balance now. I don't know. And but Bitcoin finally gave me the possibility to do it because with Bitcoin, I now have contacts all over the world. And I can just like write to them and say, hey, I'm coming to the UK. Can we do something together? some people then even invite you to their house,
Some people invite you and then they say, actually, I can't fit you in because the house is full. I'm so sorry about that, but you are
No
welcome
problem.
back any other time.
Thank you very much. Not a problem at all. I mean, and because you also have to be very flexible living that life. And I think now I came to that point at the beginning of the year after COVID also. I thought, now I have to do it now. I mean, I'm 52,
Shut up. No, you're not. Come on.
I am.
Come on.
Yes, I am. I can't do that in 10 years. Or I think I won't do it with that energy I still have,
Yeah, I get it.
And it's also, I think it's important to do it now because we are in a way in a race for privacy and for Bitcoin to spread the word.
Yes.
And that's also the reason why I thought I should be going there where Bitcoin is needed the most. And that's what I'm doing now.
And how much of your traveling journey, nomadic journey, is about Bitcoin for you? Not the education, teaching people in terms of, like, are you living on Bitcoin? Are you living part on Bitcoin?
At the moment, I'm living fully on Bitcoin. I mean, I still got my classical bank account in Austria. I need that to pay things. And but I made the experience that you need to be very, very clever, and it's a lot of work to do that in the given environment. Now that you also have capital gains tax on Bitcoin in Austria since a year, it's much more difficult now because at the beginning, I just held my Bitcoin for a year and then I was free. I didn't have to pay tax for it. But now with all these combination of earning, sponsoring money and in Bitcoin, and then I was like, doing, classical mistakes, like thinking it won't go down again, or even if I will manage, So now of course, my tax advisor says, you could pay more income tax now in advance, because with that, what you've already earned this year, you will be in a higher level and you will need to pay more tax in the next years, and also social insurance. And I said to him, but the money is only on the paper because the price of Bitcoin has gone down. It's over. I don't have the money anymore. Yeah, that's,
but hold on. Don't they only tax at the point you sell?
Yeah, but I use Bitcoin. And every time I use it to buy stuff, to buy a plane ticket, to pay the people in Zambia, I pay them in Bitcoin, of course.
Yeah.
It's a taxable event. So each of these events, like, even if I spent just $5 or send some lightning sats, I would need to write that down with the price of Bitcoin when I got it and with the price when I sold it or used it, and have to pay the income tax and all of these things. And I mean, for a one-person business, this is really cruel.
So what about with the rest of the traveling? Have you, yes, you're trying to live on Bitcoin, but you trying to do it to the max whereby you don't have any kind of like other, like you don't have a credit card or the digital, like you trying to?
No, I'm not that serious in that way. I'm serious, but I still have a credit card. As I said, I have a bank account because I don't want to overcomplicate things. And I'm not the person who is going somewhere and trying to convince people to use Bitcoin. So if people are not open to the idea, I don't say anything. I mean, just when I came here, I mean, I started to ask cab drivers, taxi drivers, if they use Bitcoin, or I could pay them in Bitcoin. Because the one today said
Bedford.
He only can take cash. And I said, I don't have cash. My credit card, maybe it works. It worked. And then I said, but I could have paid you in Bitcoin. And he actually said, I'm actually interested. 2 years ago, I downloaded a wallet. I want to invest in Bitcoin, but I didn't do it then. I don't know why. And I said, now is a good chance. But he didn't know you, and the second taxi driver also didn't know you. So you really need to do more here.
I mean, I'm trying my best. I bought a football team.
Yeah, I know.
I am
But that's the thing they know. When I say he's the chairman of Real Bedford, then, I think I heard. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm trying to make this Bedford this little kind of our version of El Zonte in the UK, and I'm not going to say who's here just in case I don't want to dox anyone, but we've got a little bit of Bitcoin meetup tonight. I mean, for me, I'm just super proud. Tonight, I'm going out to dinner with a bunch of Bitcoiners in Bedford.
Cool. How cool is that?
So amazing for me. But you've been traveling all over the place. Look, I've got to say, I'm most interested in what's been going on in Africa because I think your work there is super important. I've been following it. I do get your emails. I've seen what's been happening. I think that's a bit me and Danny were both like super interested. And it feels like Africa's become like a real passion point for you in terms of this. I think I know why, but I'm going to let you answer first.
Interesting what you think you know.
Well, actually, no, let me go first because
Yes.
then I could just say this. I think you've done a lot of work out there trying to help women and empowering women out there. That's what stands out to me from your updates. And I think that's why it's been a passion point for you. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is a passion project in general for me, not only because of the women's rights, but also queer rights. Just today, I posted something about how Bitcoiners should actually stand with queer people because we have been oppressed by governmental repercussions and regulation all of our lives. So, and that's what we jointly fight against, actually. And so I don't understand why some Bitcoiners, always make jokes with the rainbow flag or things like that. So I think my resistance to some sort of government restrictions, regulations, and pressure comes from there. And from the fact that I think that sadly our world is very unfair. I know this will stay that way, but I think we can change that a little bit by our actions or how we go along with other people, how we do our relations, how we are with one another.
Yeah.
And so the passion for Africa comes in a way through that because European countries and people from Europe for centuries, we went there and stole everything from them.
Yep.
And now they are basically deprived of everything and are in this bad situation. And we are we are the developed world, the first world. They are the third world. Hey, no.
Yeah.
I mean, this has reasons. They are manifold, of course, but that's one of the reasons. And I want them to have the chance to use an open monetary system where they don't need an ID, they don't need a sort of fixed income or wealth or status already to be able to have some sort of economic means, to be able to save, to be able to get a credit maybe once. And that's the reason why I'm going there, because the need is there much higher than in Europe or in the US. Of course, everywhere in the world, we have disadvantaged people. That's not the point. I'm also there for them or try with my educational work. But I'm focusing on African countries or let's say the global South because they are suffering the most. We have a number of people, the number of people who are living in dictatorships or authoritarian countries. Let's say basically the number of people living in full democracies is going down. So from 2020 to 21, exactly. So more and more people, actually 4 billion of people are not living in a full democracy.
I know. And some people want to burn those democracies down.
Exactly. So Bitcoin is a lifeboat for all of these people. And I also see the crackdown on privacy rights in the digital space. It's becoming tighter and tighter everywhere. And so I think that basically the people in the global South, if they were to adopt Bitcoin in a self-custodial manner, non-KYC Bitcoin, because they can't be banked, they shall stay unbanked. That's my idea. They just should use Bitcoin. And if they more and more use Bitcoin in that manner, then they will save us also from these privacy restrictions, because then you have a mixed use of Bitcoin. You can't then say non-KYC Bitcoin, go back into your hole. It's not there. Nobody uses it. So we can ban it. They can't ban it then if half of the world is using it.
So you want to keep unbanked the unbanked?
Yes.
That point on queer rights is actually super interesting because I never really thought about it in that way. Because I mean, like I've noticed that undertone of both misogyny and homophobia that exists. I mean, you could just say like certain people in Bitcoin, but it's almost unfair. It's just in society it exists, so it naturally will be in both. But I have seen it. But actually, that affinity that people who are anti-state should have with queer communities, it does exist because, I mean, queer people have had to fight for years for just some semblance of equality, and even in some places still don't have it. I mean, you've just been to Africa. I think, is it Uganda? It's still illegal.
No,
to be,
it's not only illegal. I think in Tanzania you can get a life sentence.
yeah,
In Iran, just recently they hanged gay men.
yeah.
So,
But so people who are vocal proponents of liberty and freedom should be directly aligned with the cause of queer people. So but I'd never had it put to me like that as something you should have an affinity over as people who are kind of like fighting the state. So yeah, good point. So in this, can you actually just tell me some of the stories? Talk me through the countries you've been to. I just want to know it all. Honestly, it looks fascinating. Well, like, where's your favorite place you've been going to?
All our favorite places, in a way, they are all different.
Okay.
And there are different people doing different projects, and they all have, I learned a lot from all of them. So in March, I was in Zimbabwe, the second time now. And
Does Zimbabwe still have massive inflation?
yes, I mean, it's even worse now. Like
Okay.
in March, I think the exchange rate from US dollars to Zimbabwean dollar was 1 to 600.
Okay.
Like in 2020, when I was there, it was 1 to 60.
Okay.
And now it's 1 to 900 or 1 to 1,000 in just the 3, 4, or 5 months now.
So would people there holding Bitcoin have a very similar scenario to people that I met when I was in Venezuela, where they said, it doesn't matter if the price of Bitcoin goes down, it's still going up for me?
Yeah, that's one thing, to see it, exactly. But of course, we have to be honest and say, if one of the Zimbabweans started at the end of last year to save a little bit in Bitcoin, now he or she also has just half of it. So that's hard. But for me, the bigger use case there is basically sending money in and out of Zimbabwe. Because in Zimbabwe, we have currency controls. In Zimbabwe, the central bank is really determining the exchange rate. So it's really a controlled market. That's not a free market.
Right.
And the government and the financial elites of the central bank, they basically extract all the value from the people by their money policies or their bad money policy,
And is it stupidity or is there corruption there? Are they stealing the money?
Most part is corruption.
Right.
Sometimes I think they also say really stupid things, but they are all educated in the West and things like that. They are very clever people, so it must be malice. And they recently said, or they started to issue gold coins.
I saw this.
Zimbabwe is a very rich country. They have a lot of gold. They started issuing gold coins and said, to fight inflation and all the money, and they always say it's international sanctions and the others. It's always the others. And it's not they're buying the newest SUVs and things like that. So they are issuing gold coins now. And they said, really, as a store of value, we are now issuing gold coins and Zimbabweans can buy gold coins. So the joke is, nobody knows who is the owner of the gold mines. I mean, And then the other thing is, you get it cheaper if you have US dollars. If you are able to pay in US dollars, you get it cheaper. And there's an article, I can tell you afterwards the link, and somebody really said that's the worst scam he has ever seen. And it's out in the open. So rich people bought all the gold coins and can sell them with an arbitrage of, I don't know, $300 US per one coin or something. So, every tool is manipulated. Now there's a new movie that was released these days about the last election. And of course, the governing ruling party said now the movie is banned. People have been gone missing, political opponents of the regime. And there next year is a new election. And already they are banning the color yellow because yellow is the color of the opposing party and things like that.
Is it the same party as Mugabe was?
Yes.
Is ZANU-PF, is it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it is. Okay. And when you go out and visit there, do people understand money? Like, my experience in Venezuela is that actually people understood, in some ways, people understood money more there than they did, say, in the UK. And what I mean by that is, It's not about the education of money. They understood the value of money more. In that here, my friends all have pounds. That's it. The odd random person might have a bit of Bitcoin. But 99% of people I know, maybe more, just have pounds. Whereas in Venezuela, people knew, right, I need to get rid of my bolivar. I need dollars. If I can't get dollars, I want Colombian peso. And this is why I want it. And this is how I hold it. They had to learn what money is because of inflation. Inflation here is just like slow and insidious, so people haven't had to learn. Is that similar in Zimbabwe?
It's very similar.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it?
And people need to live a whole different life than we do, because everything, it's always about money. Every day you ask someone else or look up in the news, what's the price of money today? So how much, how high is the exchange rate? Because the higher it is, the more expensive goods get. And if you have some money, you immediately spend it. So you never learn to save money, because why would you save it? It's gone in the next day. So you spend it. And that's definitely not the right way to build some sort of wealth or savings if you always have to spend it. So yes, everybody knows that the US dollar is a much better money than their own currency. And they have this history of hyperinflation in 27, 28, and now they are almost back in hyperinflation. And at the moment, it's the country with the highest inflation rate in the world.
Again.
It's Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, somewhere Venezuela. Yeah.
Okay. So when you go out there, what kind of areas are you going to? Are you going out to villages? Are you going to remote areas? Are you staying in the towns?
This time I was only in town in Harare, and we visited the Nimbe Fresh Farm in Marondera. The Nimbe Fresh Farm is that project where you could buy...
Is it the blueberries?
Pardon?
Is it the blueberries?
Yeah, that's the blueberries. That led to the blueberries.
Yeah.
But the first project they did with the Sun Exchange from South Africa. It's a company that is crowdfunding solar power plants in South Africa. Good idea, actually, because they have a lot of sun. And they also, in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, have a lot of power outages. So you have hours where you don't have any power and you need solar then to heat the water and to have electricity.
Do they know when the blackouts are coming? Or they just
no.
happen?
So the difference is in Zimbabwe, you don't know when they come. In South Africa, they are more developed.
Have you been doing lessons and the lights just go out?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Happens.
How regular? Are we talking, is it a daily occurrence?
Sometimes it depends also on the location where you're at, the quarter of the town where you are. For instance, in the center of Harare, where the hospitals and the government is sitting, you always have power.
Yeah, of course. You always have power, money, and food.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuckers.
Yeah. And so, but in South Africa, you get a text. So there are, I think, WhatsApp groups where they tell you, today at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., there will be no power. And so coming back to visiting Nimbe Fresh, they built this solar power plant on the farm to be independent, self-sovereign, and to be able to produce all the time, because they, for instance, they showed out they also grow tobacco, and tobacco needs to be dried. And they showed us with the petrol and the wood we're burning, the quality. The petrol and the wood is bad for the environment. The power from CESA, with the interruptions, the quality of our tobacco is much worse than now that we have permanent electricity. So, and this feeds a lot of people there. The farm has, I think, about 2,000 workers at the moment there.
Wow.
And I was interested in it because the solar power plants, you could buy one solar cell for a little bit of in Bitcoin too. And you can get some earnings in a way from that crowdfunding now. The solar cells are working and they are selling their excess energy to the grid.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So when you head out, you've obviously created a community of people you know now. So you've got people you if you go to Zimbabwe, but when you go out, do you want a set mission? And you're like, I want to go and educate 20 people, 50, 100, like what?
No, the goal is actually to educate the educators. Yeah,
I knew you were going to say that.
Because I can't do that alone, and I don't want to. And I'm not the right person coming there and telling them how it works. I don't
Right.
want to be that. I want to share my knowledge with people who are interested in it and who also want to share that knowledge with their peers, because I think it has to come. It's a grassroots development. It has to come from the people on the ground. And so what I'm looking for are committed people who are already a little bit interested in Bitcoin, or at least show some interest in it, and are willing to learn and to set up meetups, for instance. I think local Bitcoin meetups are the most important thing. The most important thing is trust. We say Bitcoin is trustless. Okay, what does it mean? Yeah, you don't need trust in the network itself, but you need to trust your peers still, because there are so many scams, and that's one of the things I've learned there too. We're not doing, I don't know how we should do all of that education, because so many people have been scammed. Everybody knows about Bitcoin, or almost everybody has heard about it. But the first question I get, but is it not a scam?
They think it's OneCoin.
Yeah, or any other scam there.
I'm going to come back to scams. I just want to stick with this educating the educators. So do you know how many people you've now how many educators you've created, say, in Zimbabwe?
5, 10.
5 or 10. So they can go around and create the meetups, which is great. But when you first met them, it was new to them as well. Ish?
Yes, that was in 2020.
Yeah.
When I met the first people, I didn't know that they are Bitcoiners. They were interested in digital technologies and things like that. So my friend there scouted them, from a network of, I know people, maybe interested in Bitcoin. And then now when I was there the second time, the same people came back to my event. And also, for instance, Alexandria from Bulawayo came. He saw I tweeted it, of course, and he saw it. And he said, are you coming to Bulawayo as well? It's a 6-hour bus ride from there to Harare. And I said, no, I can't. And he said, okay, I'm coming. So he drove all night long just to come to that meetup. And he just said, I'm so happy that you are doing this, because I feel I'm alone, People feel really isolated. They know about Bitcoin. They heard about it. They like it. They think this is a great chance, but they can't speak with anyone about it because they don't know anyone. So that's the reason why I think these events and meetups are so important.
But forget the scam thing for the moment. When you started explaining Bitcoin to people, do they naturally start to understand? Do they see the value of the fixed currency, the anti-inflation side of things?
Yeah, I mean, my talks are always a little bit accustomed to the country where I'm at. And in Zimbabwe, for instance, with that high inflation, if you tell them you can't inflate that money, you can't make more out of this Bitcoin, you can't censor it, your government can't take it away from you, everybody understands immediately. Yeah. So it's much more easier actually to get people to adopt it there in a way.
But what kind of local challenges are the users there facing that, say, we don't face here living,
Electricity cuts, when
right.
you
can't spend your Bitcoin, or you can't charge your phone.
Yeah, you can't use Lightning maybe at that moment. And not all people have smartphones. There's no internet in some regions.
Can we come back to that one? So that was what I experienced so when I was on the border of Venezuela and Cucuta, there were 2 issues. One is having the phone charged. But secondly, some people didn't have a phone. And so there were people who would share a phone. Mm-hmm. And I think, that was a real kind of like wake-up call to actually some people still need some form of physical money.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people in African countries, mobile money is very common. You have it with EcoCash in Zimbabwe. You have it with M-Pesa in Kenya and other countries. So they are used to use money via text message.
Okay.
And a lot of them also only have those feature phones where you can only send texts. They don't have a smartphone. So they are used to that. And now there is something, I'm very happy to see that now. Someone from a Southern African country has started to code a tool where you can send Lightning via text.
Amazing.
Yes, Machankura 8333 or something. Is
That's
the
a
name.
very cool concept.
Yes, it's a cool concept. I mean, it's custodial, so
Well, it has to be.
it has to be, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. So, and I just recently I saw one possibility, for instance, for people there, because in Zimbabwe you don't have an official exchange, and usually the international exchanges cut you off as soon as you enter your address, because as a Zimbabwean you are under sanctions. So now you can basically buy a Bitcoin voucher in South Africa, and 1 to 3 million Zimbabweans are estimated to live in South Africa and work there, and they want to send money home. So you can go and buy an Etsco voucher, or One for Me it's called, and you buy it with South African rand, and then you can send the code to redeem the Bitcoin to your friends and family, and they can redeem it in Zimbabwe. And now this also works with this text message tool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's getting Bitcoin quite difficult then in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way to do it is to earn it. Like if you're a digital worker, like you're producing content, or you're an internet marketer, you can ask the companies abroad to pay you in Bitcoin. If you have family abroad, the diaspora, the Zimbabwean is very big. They can send you Bitcoin. So that's basically the best way to get it.
Okay. Are you going to be in Ghana in December
Yes.
for the conference?
Yes.
I think we're going.
Yeah, sure.
I've not been to Africa.
Yeah,
ever.
I know. You 2 times you said you're coming
I
with me, but you
know.
never have time. So, but I'm looking forward. If you're coming, I will go to, or it's planned that I'm going to Nigeria afterwards.
Yes, I think I'm doing. Is there like a few people doing that?
Maybe. I mean, I think I'm joining Paxful. They are doing another of their campus tours through Nigeria, because they are doing a lot of work there.
Yes, I think I might be doing that as well.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be there. You're going to have to show me around. So
I will.
I've not been to. What is Nigeria like as well? What are the different challenges there?
Oh, I mean, I've never been to Nigeria.
Oh, you haven't?
We got to say that countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, they are all different. And there are so many people living there, we have no imagination. I mean, Nigeria, I don't know how many million people are living in Nigeria.
No idea.
Yeah.
So which are the other countries you've been to? You've been to Zimbabwe?
Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, that was this year.
Well, so with South Africa, do they have a more developed than Bitcoin ecosystem?
A little bit, yes. So they already even have regulation. So that's always the question, is this good or bad? I mean, for Zimbabweans, I think it's now a brilliant time. As long as your country doesn't have strict regulations, you should try to get as much Bitcoin as you can. So, and South Africa, yeah, I mean, you have Cape Town. Cape Town is a country that, South Africa is a very European African country.
Yes.
It's the most European African country. But South Africa, in Cape Town, most Bitcoiners I met are white people living there, white South Africans. But there's a big exception for that, and that's the Bitcoin Ekasi project in Mossel Bay.
Tell me about that.
It's fantastic. It's, I think, one of the most important projects in the space that we have at the moment, to prove the point that Bitcoin is also for poor people, and they also can use it, and it also helps them. So Bitcoin Ekasi, the initiator is called Herman Vivier. And Herman is a South African living in Mossel Bay. That's some hours from Cape Town on the sea. And he, funnily enough, started a surfing company 10 years ago. And he had a tourism company showing people around. And in that company, he thought, I want to do something for the people who live here. They have several townships in Mossel Bay. One of them is the township where he then offered children and young people to learn surfing for free.
Nice.
As a part of, they also have education there. So the children come after the official school. And I make this because they seem not to learn anything there in school. Teachers have given up. And so they get a little bit of education. They get a meal. When they go home, they are all brushing their teeth, because brushing your teeth is not something you do in a township. So, and also they learn social skills and they learn to surf, which is,
Nice.
something where you learn something about yourself, you learn about courage and persistence and doing things the long term. And then Herman, I don't know, I can't remember. I interviewed him. I can't remember when he started to use Bitcoin himself, but he then heard of Bitcoin Beach. And he basically thought, I'm going to do the same. I'm trying to do the same here. And he started only 1.5 years ago, I think. And he has surf coaches, young men. Some children are like 3 years and starting like surfing. I mean,
You agree with that one, don't you, Danny?
For sure.
Danny's a big surfer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so so he started to educate his coaches about Bitcoin and show them how it works. And now there are some junior coaches and a senior coach. He's called Lufando. And they are basically educating their peers in the township about Bitcoin. They are using Lightning.
Mhm.
Why? Because Lightning you can use also small amounts. You couldn't do that with Bitcoin. And so they are not only educating them, Lufando is going around and is trying to convince a little bit the shop owners of these little spaza shops, these little huts, to accept Bitcoin.
Huh.
Because he's paying his coaches in
Get it.
Bitcoin.
They're trying to create that
They
circular
are
economy.
trying to create a circular economy,
Nice.
exactly. And it works. I
Yeah, it
mean,
does.
They have now 10 out of 17 shops are accepting Lightning. When I was there, I brought some Trezor hardware wallets.
Nice.
I did a hardware wallet workshop with Lufando and the junior coaches because now the shop owners, they don't have computers. They only have phones.
Yeah.
And so they built a sort of a Bitcoin Ekasi center in the township. And people can go there to use the computer of Lufando and their own hardware wallet. So it's their hardware wallet. And he basically now showed them how to use a hardware wallet because a shop owner might have more money than the usual person in a township. And that's great to see how it works. And I think it might soon even be possible to spend the Satoshis in other shops outside of the township as well.
Well, that's what happened in El Salvador. So when I first went out there, it was, Michael had set up this project, very similar, where he was paying kids to clean up the sides of the roads where the rubbish was and teach surfing. And then he convinced like the little store and a pizzeria to take Bitcoin. And then that expanded, and now pretty much every hotel or shop accepts it in El Zonte. But you can go up the road and I can't remember El Tunco. There's like a cafe and 2 other places accept it. I mean, now the whole country does, kind of. But that's what it is. It's like this seed, and this seed grows, and it's just fantastic to see. We're going to try and do the same here in Bedford, by the way.
Yeah, cool. I'm coming again.
Yes, we've got one place to accept it, which is my football club. But we will work on this.
Great.
We will plant the seed here. That's fascinating. I
also brought a Raspberry Blitz. So in Bitcoin Ekasi, they should also have a running Lightning node now.
Nice.
A full node and Lightning node, yeah.
So tell me about this. By the way, have you finished your update to your book yet?
Not yet. I'm just in the middle of it. But I will release an audiobook soon.
Are you narrating it?
Pardon?
Are you narrating it?
I'm writing it?
No, narrating it. Is it your voice?
No, I'm not. I mean...
Are we going to get an American Anita Posch?
No, a UK guy living in Zimbabwe.
UK guy?
So a Zimbabwean. No, he's a Zimbabwean, but he has UK roots. So this will be fun.
Do you ever read a book anymore?
Rarely.
Do you ever read a book anymore? I don't.
Before I wrote my own idea, because I had time. So basically, I learned the most from books and podcasts about Bitcoin. Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't. I never
Everything
read.
I do is audiobook now.
Yeah, everything I do is. Interesting. Okay, Bitcoin for fairness. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of last year, I thought I want to do more, like just podcasting. I mean,
Yeah.
just podcasting.
Just
Sorry,
podcasting.
if you're
Sorry.
if you have such a big podcast like yours, you're also educating masses. I mean,
I want to do more than just podcasting.
you do.
Yeah,
You now you have the circular economy in Bedford.
Exactly. My football
Exactly,
team.
King
Oh,
of
yeah.
Bedford.
Oh, God, I'm really embarrassed about that now. Anyway, come on, tell me.
Yeah. So I thought about a funding model also for my work, because I didn't have the development like other podcasters where I was growing my audience and I could live off the sponsorships easily, sadly. And also I had this idea of sharing my knowledge, and that I think it's important to do that. And so I started to reach out to people, and basically it was Elizabeth Stark giving me the idea, and she said to me, Anita, do you actually get a grant? And I said, no, but actually that's how I would like to work, because it takes down all the stress you have, and it's an existential crisis in a way if you don't get money and you don't know how to live in the next 6 months or something like that as a self-employed person. And so, and it also gives me now the freedom to do actually what I want.
Okay.
And that's fantastic. So Bitcoin for Fairness, I've used this name because I think that's the ultimate, do you say end game of Bitcoin? Or the ultimate use case of Bitcoin is giving open and fair access to anyone.
Yeah.
And it's also the ultimate argument against all anti-Bitcoiners. Because you can argue about the electricity use of Bitcoin and all these things. You can argue all the time. But if you tell people, look, there are 4 billion people living in authoritarian regimes, do you really want them to not have access to an open monetary system?
Well, some people don't still.
Yeah, but I mean...
Who's that prick who lives up in Berkeley in San Francisco? He's always commenting against stuff. He commented against that letter that David Zell wrote the reply to.
I'll find him.
Yeah, like someone like him. So there are people where you explain to him, bear in mind, he lives in Berkeley, San Francisco, a very privileged life. I want to say Wheatley or something. It's not that Stefan Dahl, it's another one. Anyway, and no, I've explained, I'm literally saying to him, what Bitcoin does and how it's fair, and he just doesn't want it. He wants it banned.
No, they think traditional money can do that too. I've also been told several times, don't focus so much on Bitcoin. There are other means of payment we can use. Yeah, but they are not censorship resistant. They are centralized. They can be manipulated. It's just not the same.
It's not the same.
And this is just a point where you get to when you have spent a lot of time thinking and learning about Bitcoin. You don't get that. I also didn't get that in the first weeks, months, years of my Bitcoin.
I still don't.
You still don't.
So what are you doing? So look, were you crowdfunding?
I'm crowdfunding, yes, on Giza Fund, for instance, which is an interesting platform too. It's a platform on Lightning where you can do crowdfunding.
Well, I'm going to support you. You know I support
you.
Yeah,
cool. And then this time I already have my grant proposal. I can present it to you afterwards.
Is it what are you doing? Are you having individual proposals and you want people to sponsor specific things, or is it general fund?
It's a general fund because I can never say what's the next thing that's coming up. For instance, now I'm working on a 2-pager, a brochure, where you have a A4 sheet of paper with 2 sides. You can fold it. I wanna with the basic information about what is Bitcoin, how it's not a scam, and how you can do it use it in a self-custodial manner. And I want to have that as a template. Then people from different countries can translate it into their local language. And you can then take it to meetups, print it out. It's not expensive to print out a sheet of paper. Yeah, you can do that everywhere. And then you can give it out on these meetups. So people really have something in their hands, because most of the times new people come, they listen, they are interested, then they go home and then they forget about it or don't have time to research it, or they don't know where to start.
Okay. Are you are you accepting fiat or just Bitcoin for your grants?
I'm accepting everything.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't even need to see your proposal. I will support you because your work's wonderful, and I know you don't live an extravagant life. You're not going to take proposals and go and buy yourself a Dior bag. I know you're absolutely focused and dedicated to this. You're about as Bitcoin as they get, and you're one of the most hardest working Bitcoiners I know. I can't say that. I have a podcast as a job and a career, but I spend a lot of my time on it. But you're like it's in you. You've dedicated yourself to this. So just send me. It's easy for me to give you dirty fiat because I send it just from the business account. But just send me the stuff. But you don't even send me a proposal. Actually, when you have something live you want me to share out as well, I'll retweet and get it out and tell people, because people should support you.
Yeah, please, thanks. So people do support me, and I want to say thank you to all the private people, the individuals who donated, and also to the sponsors, of course. But the sponsors, it's more like a business deal, you know. I issue an invoice, they get marketing, but I have to say they are on the right side as well. So meaning they know, they trust me. As I said before, they let me do what I want. I just get back to them, report, and they see what I do. And that's proof enough.
I like your emails. I get through. I get approved enough. Just give me an address. We'll send you some money. We'll support you on this. And like I said, we'll share it out. Get other people to do it because, like I said, it's super important work. And also the fact that you are representing women and you are representing queer people, which I think are just largely underrepresented in the Bitcoin community.
One story about queer people. I reached out in Zambia to a local LGBTIQ group, because I wanted to try to show them that Bitcoin is not a scam and how they can use it. Because I think, as I said, like poor people in these countries, like people living under authoritarian and dictatorships, queer people and those minority groups, as we call them. I don't know if this is political correct now. They should use it the first, because they can gain the most. But they didn't come back, and I think it's the reason is most people think it's a scam, and they think you want to sell them something. But I don't want to sell something. Another story, if I may, about scams.
You can tell us as many as you want. Well, I just know that so I said to you earlier, I'm going to come back to scams because I know how prevalent the issue is in Africa. I mean, we've got Jamie Bartlett coming back in, haven't we?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The guy who did the documentary on OneCoin.
Yeah, the BBC
one.
Yeah. So he's coming back to update us on that. He's in the UK, and
is she still alive?
I don't know where she is. Has she been
She's
found?
on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list now.
Yeah. She was in Bulgaria for a long time, but he's coming in back to talk to us about that because I know how big an issue the OneCoin scam was in Africa.
It's still going.
It's still going?
Yeah. I've been told that it's still going.
That's unbelievable.
And the problem with scams, I've heard a story, for instance, a company owner in South Africa. I mean, many people in South Africa and Zimbabwe still have mates and people who help them. Yeah. And he said to one of his mates, I can pay you in Bitcoin. And he explained everything and said, do you want to be paid? And she always said, no. And then she took it. And he then said, okay, but now don't spend it. Keep it. And if you ever want to spend it, come to me first. I will help you. And what happened? She spent it on a scam because her sister convinced her that this is great to make money.
Oh, God.
Exactly. So he's already telling her, I'll help you. Yeah, ask me first. And then, the need is so big because when you're poor, you even more want to make more of your money.
Of course.
You're using every little, Grashalm in German, grass. You're using everything to get more money. And you believe these scammers. That's,
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, it's so sad that people in Africa are targeted so much as well with these scams that they're already struggling. And
but it's also here. And then I mean, even in Austria. And then I don't understand. I mean, here you have the means, you have the possibility to ask someone else. There are Bitcoin meetups. We are online. Bitcoin Austria is answering questions per email. And it's always, people are always sending us a message when it's too late. when they are being told they need to pay something more to get their funds back. That's when they ask us.
So we had Obi in here the other day. You're obviously a lot closer to what's happened in Africa. How much of a game changer do you think Fedimint will be for African communities?
A huge game changer.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Fedimint, and I hope that they are successful in developing it. Because so Fedimint is a protocol, and for me, I learned in 2020 that in Southern African countries you have a sense of Ubuntu, meaning the community is everything. You take care of your family. You are responsible for each other. It's a very the opposite of being self-sovereign. And so I think Fedimint and the eCash tokens can be that sort of community money. So with Fedimint, Bitcoin can really become community money. So one of the biggest problems is self-custody. It's not easy. I mean, for me now it's easy because been doing it we are doing it a long time. So you need to educate yourself a little bit, and also it's sometimes with all these scams going on and phishing mails and people lose passwords and whatever. Yeah. So I think 90% of Bitcoin are on centralized exchanges, owned by people on centralized exchanges and not in self-custody. And that's why I'm always also have that focus on self-custody, because you get the positive properties of Bitcoin only if you self-custody it. And but a lot of people don't have the means to do that in these countries. And you also can't really educate them on that. And so Fedimint is basically a federation where trusted members of the federation or of the community, like it starts with minimum of 4 people. These 4 people can be very knowledgeable Bitcoiners, for instance. And they run the Fedimint software on their Lightning or Bitcoin full node. I don't know exactly the technicalities, yeah? But, and then it's like a multi-sig. So these 4 people hold the Bitcoin of the community in a shared custody. So it's a semi-custodial way where the people who are participating in the Fedimint network or in the local community, they don't need to take so much care about their keys as in a full self-custody solution, but they are also not custodial. So Obi said something great. It's from KYC to KYF, from know your customer to know your family and friends, because you trust your friend or your family already. And that's also a model. Many people also in Austria, I also have people, I take care of their Bitcoin because they don't know how to do it, or they are losing their wallets and things like that, and I'm just like, okay, I do it for you, yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to see you lose the Bitcoin.
Of course.
Yeah. And so many people are doing that already for their friends and family, and those could be guardians of the network.
Right, okay.
And it also brings privacy.
Yes. Because
the eCash tokens that you get are IOUs, and they are not recorded on the blockchain anymore. And even the Fedimint people, the guardians, don't know who exchanged the Bitcoin to tokens now. And then they are interchangeable. So if you're sitting in Africa in a community and have your own Fedimint there, you still can send your tokens to your family in the UK. Basically, it will be most of the times the other way around.
Yeah.
And you do that over Lightning. So I guess in the future, a Fedi wallet will be integrated into a Bitcoin wallet that does Lightning, Bitcoin, stable coins on Taro, and Fedimint tokens. And I don't know what else will be seeding in the future.
We will have everything we need at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their time frame is of planning to do the project, but And it also scales Bitcoin, because you don't need to wait for the next mined block to be in a transaction, and
Yeah, it's very interesting. For me at first, I was like, why would I use this? I already have multi-sig cold
Yeah,
storage. But
you.
I was going from my end of the spectrum
Yeah,
backwards a bit.
It's
and I
not
was
for you.
No, it's for the people to come. It's like
From the other way.
Yeah, from the other
exactly.
way. And that's when I realized I was like, actually, this is super interesting. So okay. So what's next, Anita? Where are you going next? What are you working on next?
Next is going to Riga to the Balticani Badger Conference. And afterwards, the goal is to go to Zimbabwe and Zambia.
When?
September, October.
We can't do them, can we?
No.
So I'm not going to promise this time because we can't. I do want to
But
go to
December.
Zimbabwe. Yeah, I do want to go to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I really wanna-
I invite you.
I know,
come.
I know. Danny just keeps me so busy.
Yeah. So Danny, make it happen.
Yeah, it's Danny's fault.
Please.
Well, the conference in December.
Conference in December. Yeah, well, so we definitely get to Africa for the. I've never
Yes.
been to Africa.
I've never been to Ghana and Nigeria too, and I guess it's completely different to Zambia and Zimbabwe.
Yeah, it's going to be so exciting
So-
to go.
So I want to go there because in Zambia, the guys who are now, in a way, ambassadors of Bitcoin for Fairness on the ground,
Mhm.
they had the idea to do not only meetups, but also to do a workshop for journalists now.
Great.
Because when I was there, I had some media interviews and I met some journalists, and they had such a lack of knowledge about Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's the same everywhere, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think theirs might be ignorance, whereas I think it's the Western media is a bit more malicious.
That might be, yeah. So they had the idea, and I think it's a great idea because, articles in the media are important. And so we're going to do a workshop for journalists. And I also want to bring a Raspberry Blitz to Zambia.
Nice.
In Zimbabwe, the most interesting story is about Bitcoin mining with solar in Zimbabwe now.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a guy from the UK. He's a diaspora Zimbabwean, and he's running a farm in the heart of Zimbabwe. I mean, he has to stay anonymous. And he asked me if I know Bitcoin miners in Zimbabwe and things like that. And I said, no. But then another guy, and I think maybe he's also from the UK, who had some ASIC miners at home and he didn't use them anymore. He said, I'm going to donate these miners to you. And the guy from here, he sent it to his farm and he installed the miners in one of his cooling rooms. You know, he needs cooling for his produce. And there the miners are now. And it's the first Bitcoin mining that I know of in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
It's just a small experiment, of course, but
from a seed.
They do, I don't know, $20 a week or something from that, because electricity, on the one hand, is very cheap in Zimbabwe. I don't know why. And he has the solar power. And it's great to see that. And I hope also that Blockstream said they will donate a Blockstream satellite so that the mining machines are connected over the satellites to the Bitcoin network so that he doesn't lose the the connection to the Bitcoin blockchain. And I hope we can do that in September, October.
You are so busy.
I'm very busy. It's too much. Actually, a UK podcaster, the last time he said to me, if I were you, my head would explode. And since then, I think about my head exploding. And yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Wow, I'm going to support you because I think you're amazing. I love everything you're doing.
Yeah, what I want to say to people is what I think Bitcoin is a silent revolution. And I love that thought because it helps us in the fight against surveillance and always more and more tightening privacy rights. And if you are supporting Bitcoin just by using it, either holding it or using it for day-to-day things in a circular economy, then you support freedom fighters and human rights activists. You support the people in these countries from here just by holding Bitcoin. And if you are anti-Bitcoin, you are anti-privacy, you are anti-freedom of speech, and you're against the fact that there are 4 billion people who should also get a fair access to an open monetary system. And I think these are important things. And we are in a new crypto war. Like in the 90s, you know, the cryptography was banned by the US. They said cryptography is like munition. And there's the story of Adam Back, who wrote a privacy tool and printed it on a T-shirt to show the authorities you can't ban mathematics and cryptography. And like recently with the crackdown on Tornado Cash, I saw this quote again from Phil Zimmermann, the inventor of PGP, public-private cryptography.
Pretty good privacy.
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you very much for email encryption. And he said, if privacy is outlawed, only outlaws will have privacy. And I don't want to live in a world like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think is important to say is all of that, what I just said. Bitcoin is uncensorable, it's unstoppable. And I think it gets the most meaning and value if you use it and not only hold it. I'm not saying anything against speculation or store of value. It's an important part of Bitcoin. But I think circular economies will help Bitcoin adoption much more in these countries where I was talking about than all the hodling of the people in Western countries.
Amazing. Well, listen, it's a very profound end, but also I just want to say thank you again. Like you're doing work, really important work that others aren't. There's a whole load of Bitcoin where we cover like economics and kind of Western first world problems, and it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's important. I get it's important, but like you're doing the real work on the ground with communities where it makes a real difference to their lives. We will support you financially. We absolutely will. If other people want to support you, how are we going to get it out to them? Give me a link. As
I said before, there is the crowdfunding campaign on Geyser.fund.
Geyser, how do you spell that?
GEYSER.
Okay.
.fund. Then you can also use Bitcoin or Lightning at bffbtc.org/donate. That's the Bitcoin for Fairness website. And please follow me on Twitter and my newsletter at anita.link/news.
Well, keep crushing it. Keep doing everything you're doing. You're a friend of the show. You're always welcome on. I'm so glad we got to do this in person.
Yeah, me too. A last thing I just came to my mind again. My next goal with others from Zambia is to start podcasts. Actually, the Chichi, you know Chichi?
You're trying to get me more competition.
Yes,
I was about to give you some money.
It's not really competition. It's
joking.
Competition in their local language.
Right.
So the goal is to do decentralized Bitcoin podcasts and to let people translate Bitcoin podcasts into the local language, or just do a podcast in a local language. Because I think also, speaking of privacy and all the things that happen in the digital space, podcasting is so important because the RSS feed cannot be influenced by anyone. They can't censor your RSS feed as they can with their newsletter or your website or whatever. And so I think it's cheap. It's relatively easy to do today. You don't need, you are a pro, but you can do it on your smartphone too. And so it's easy accessible. And I'm looking forward to do that project and to help the people on the ground.
This is why your head's going to explode, because you've even got things you forgot about that you're doing.
Exactly.
Anita, look, keep being amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm so glad that I know you, and I'm so proud of the work you do. I think it's incredible. I think it stands out as somebody who's really dedicated to growing Bitcoin for the right reasons. So we are indebted to you, and you're our friend, and anything we can do for you, you always let us know.
Thank you very much, Peter. You're one of the first Bitcoin podcasts I was listening to in 2017.
Oh, stop it. All right. I think we're going to go and have some food. And thank you for coming to Bedford, by the way.
Thanks.